Hello everyone. Welcome to part 3 of the course selection video process. During this part we're actually going to start selecting courses, so get excited. That's what all this stuff has been about. But first, there are a few points I want to mention, because I failed to mention in the previous video. So on the course selection sheets for grades 10 through 12, so it's not on the 9th grade one, there's a section over here on the right hand side that talks about dual enrollment. So if you're interested in dual enrollment, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's basically a program where students can go for part of the school day to Hillsborough Community College and take college level courses. So it's pretty awesome because you can start getting college level credit, and it also counts for high school credit. So it's like a double dipping kind of option. But there are requirements for it. For instance, you need a minimum GPA unweighted of a 3.0. And from that you need a lot of paperwork too to get even into the process. So if you know, like you're currently in high school and you're taking dual enrollment next year, that's awesome. If you're interested in it, you really need to talk with your current school counselor at whatever high school you're at. Let's ask questions about it. Please note that if you haven't done it, if you're not doing it for the fall, you can always do it for the spring too, or semester 2. So that's always an option. Just make sure you have that GPA. Note that if you are taking dual enrollment, like you've already gone through the registration process and everything, because this doesn't qualify as the registration process. The registration process is a lot of papers. If you've done it already and are approved, you can select some course options here, but those things you select in the dual enrollment box do not count as one of the 8 courses you need to select in the rest of the paper. So you need to select 8 options outside of that dual enrollment area. The next piece that I want to make certain you're aware of is that there's a notes section. It's just a box, and it's in different areas on each of the forms. It's bigger and smaller in some. If there's anything ever like interesting, or you took things out of sequence, or you haven't done something and you really need to, like let's say you're entering your 12th grade and you haven't taken Hope yet, please make a note in that section so that we're aware of what you're coming in with. Also, some schools you take things out of sequence and it screws up some things. Please make notes there. That is what that section is for. Or if you feel like uncertain about anything, just please put it there. So I believe that covered everything that I was missing from the first video. I have some things on here. Oh, the next thing. So this course selection process, you're requesting courses. Once again, your schedule may or may not look like this at the end. But please note that when you get your schedule towards the end of the summer, you want to make sure that it's basically on point, everything's good as far as the core courses you need for graduation. And note that things are changeable. So the first 2 weeks of school, usually we have schedule change requests, and we look at them. We look at the most important ones first, so those people that don't have, like, let's say, English or science and they need it, we first help those students to change their schedules. Elective courses are much more difficult to change, but we'll look at them on a course-to-course basis, and those would be later on in the process of schedule changes. So please note that these things are changeable. So let's start looking at it. Okay. So the first column on all of these pages is mainly the core academic area. Okay. So if you look under the English section, right, remember if there's an asterisk, it means you need to take a course for that grade level. So for English, like grade 9, you must take English 1. If you're grade 10, you must take English 2 and a writing course. So you have to do both of those. For grade 11, you need an English course. You can either take the honors level or the AP level. And that's the same thing for grade 12, except there's another option of a regular level class. So most of our courses, about 95% of them I'd say, are honors level or above. We don't have any regular level courses. And that's what makes Brooks a very college-going atmosphere. We also offer advanced placement. So AP courses, they are basically seen as college level, and at the end you take an exam called the AP test. Depending how you score on that, if you pass, which is a score, it's ranged on a 1 to 5, passing is 3 to 5. So if you get a 3 to 5, the college where you end up going to decides what credit to award you, so on and so forth, if they do award you credit. So it's pretty neat. So think about it like this. There's regular level courses, then there's honors level, and then there's AP. So AP is just much more intense, more reading, more writing, more everything. So let's make sure the student can handle it. If you're interested in AP, remember about that note on this paper, you must attend an AP open house, which is in the later summer, so make sure you're on the lookout for communication about that. Alright, so that's English. Everyone should have something written down for English or checked off. Grade 10, you should have 2 things. Remember, we need 8. And another thing is, on this paper, write in pencil first. It's much easier to change things if you do that. I've had some students write in pen, and it ends up getting very messy. So just write in pencil first. Once you have the 8 that you want and you know it, then you can write over them in pen. Okay, the math section. So just make sure you're following the sequence. So for us, it goes algebra, then geometry, then algebra 2. However, if you struggle in math, like let's just say you took geometry and it didn't go so well, math for college readiness could be the next best option for you. So you would then take math for college readiness and then algebra 2. I hope that makes sense. So you kind of have some flexibility there, as long as you eventually take algebra 2. So let's say you're coming in 8th grade, you just took algebra. The next step you'd want to take in 9th grade would be geometry. Or if you haven't taken anything yet in middle school, then you'd want to start with algebra in 9th grade. Okay, so everyone should be selecting something there. If you're 12th grade and you've already satisfied all your math requirements, please know that a lot of colleges and universities want to see you take 4 years at the high school level. So even though you may have done one in 8th grade, it's still encouraged for you to do another one. However, you need to weigh that against how you do in them. So if you really struggle in math, and it's just not your thing, you need to weigh that against how it would look for a college. Okay, because it may look better to do a math class, an extra one, but if you really struggle in it and don't do so well, kind of gotta balance that. All right, the next section, science. So most of us would be selecting an option here. So if you're in 9th grade, you want to do bio. I know some of you might be coming in with a physical science credit, which is awesome. 9th grade, everyone should be doing bio. 10th grade, everyone should be doing chemistry. Okay. However, if you haven't done bio yet, we want you to do that. So take bio and then chemistry, and I'll see what happens. So you need to at least take bio and chem. From there, you have some flexibility. You need 3 science courses. So if you're in your 11th or 12th grade, or even your 10th grade, like you've already taken bio and chem, some students have. Once again, a lot of colleges and universities want you to keep taking classes in that area. They just want to see that college rigor. Okay, so we have a variety of classes that you can take. However, once again, if you really struggle in science, you have to really weigh that against how it would look for colleges. So first bio, then chemistry, and then from there there's a series of courses. So you could either take, like, we have environmental science, we have AP environmental science, we have anatomy and physiology, which looks at the bones and the body organs and how they all function. Then we have marine science, which if you really struggle in the sciences, but you need another science, marine science is probably the best route for you to take. Except if you're super intrigued in one of the other areas. Let's say you really want to be a nurse eventually. Anatomy and physiology may be a good option for you. However, it is a more rigorous science. And then we also have physics. So physics is kind of the marriage between science and math. So for those of you, it involves a lot of calculations and everything. So if you really struggle in those areas, maybe not the best option for you. However, it's good for those of you who do like those areas. So it's pretty cool. All right, that's science. So if you need them, put a check. Okay. If you're in 12th grade and you've already satisfied everything and you don't like science, you don't have to do anything necessarily, but you may want to think about it. All right, the next section is social sciences. So social science, remember, we have our course progression where in 10th grade you take world history, 11th grade U.S. history, and 12th grade you take government for half the year and economics for half the year. Okay, so 9th grade is kind of an open year. 9th grade, there is an option that you can take AP Human Geography, which kind of looks at how geography has shaped human culture, like where humans have tended to live, and also kind of other variables that affected the human geography interaction. So that is an option for ninth grade students, and also it's an option for those who are not in ninth grade. So it's typically a ninth grade class, but you can take it in your 10th or 11th or 12th grade year too. So make sure you're staying with that sequence though. So if you're in 10th grade, you want to do world history, unless you've already done it before. If you've done it in ninth grade, because some schools do it differently, then you kind of have this as your gap year. So it's just changing things around. Okay. If you've already taken U.S. government, you still want to circle that U.S. government economics option, because you still need the economics. And then in the notes section, write down, I already have credit earned for government and or economics, depending. So, and that'll help us when we make the schedule, because there's so many ins and outs to these things. All right. Those are the core areas. We're going to jump around now, and we're going to get to the world language area. And for most of us, it's, okay, so for 9th and 10th grade, it's in the right-hand column. So it's right underneath social science. For 11th and 12th grade, it's the bottom portion of the middle column. So, world language, you need 2 of them. Remember, if you haven't taken it yet and you're entering your junior year, you need to start. If you just took 1, like some students take it in 8th grade for high school credit, you can then jump to 2, because you need 2 years, and it's best not to have a gap year in between, because you can forget a lot. And world languages are one of those things that you want to keep up with, or else you'll lose it. So depending where you're at, you can start taking in your 9th grade year, you can start taking your 10th grade year, definitely by your junior year, and you need 2 of them. So French 2 is also an option on there. So we know for some students they're coming in with French 1 credit. You can only take French 2 if you have French 1 credit. You can't just jump right away into French 2. That doesn't happen. Okay? So it's only for those students who have already passed and have credit for French 1. Alright, we're going to jump one more time. Okay, and then we're going to get back on track. So I want you all to go to the physical education options area, which is in the right column in the middle. So under physical education options, there's a HOPE course, the first thing listed. That's health opportunities through physical education. And it's a credit that every student needs in order to graduate. Typically it's done in the 9th grade year. So I want every 9th grade student to select that as a course. And note it has an asterisk there for you all. Everyone else, like 10th through 12th grade, if you haven't taken it yet, you need to select that. Okay, and write in the notes comment section, have not yet taken HOPE. And we'll make sure you get in there. So, we have that. So let's go back into the middle portion of the page and look at the fine performing arts section. So remember, students need 1 credit in a fine art, a performing art, or a speech and debate class to satisfy one of the parts of the graduation requirements. So you need 1 credit by the time you graduate. It's best to do it early. So if you're a junior, just get it out of the way now so you don't have to worry about it 12th grade year. If you're a freshman, you can do it now too. So dramatic arts options is the first column, so it's acting and dance techniques. Pretty self-explanatory. Then there's vocal instrumental options. So there's band. Awesome. If you've ever been interested in band or would like to know, definitely do band. It's pretty cool. And our band instructor is awesome. If you already have some experience with band, like you did in middle school a bunch of times, you can just jump to band 2. That's one of the what do you call it, exception to the rules of that prerequisite piece. So you can just jump to band 2 if you already have familiarity with it. The next thing is chorus. So that's singing. So if you like doing that, jump into chorus. There's guitar. No, for guitar, you don't need to bring your own guitar. We have guitars. So if you've ever thought about doing it, then there you go. Guitar is pretty cool. I always wish I could have done it. I have a ukulele, so I should bust it out, but hey, just saying. The next thing is orchestra. So that's working with stringed instruments, like violin, so on and so forth. So it's a pretty awesome class. And for that class, most of the students have to rent out instruments. So it's some students have to, depending on the instrument. And then we have the visual art options. So we have drawing, then we have painting, and then we have ceramics. Okay, ceramics is like pottery and working with it. So you have the clay, and you put it in a kiln, and then make it work. So those are all our fine performing arts options. Okay, and remember, you need 8 courses selected. So you need 8 check marks. So you already have one in English, you probably have one in math, you probably have one in science, and some of you even have 2 in English, and then you may have a social science. So that's cutting up all your courses. So we need 8 total. So whatever you had from core, select core first, and then we do these elective options. So we did those, and then I think with all of us, we can jump to the next column. We can. So the next column talks about additional course selections. So there's language arts options. So one of the first courses on there is intensive reading. So if you've struggled with your FCAT, I know some of us don't know our scores yet, but if you typically have not done well and you're worried about how you did recently, you can select that option and just write in the notes section, like, I'm not sure how I did, but I don't feel good about it. So intensive reading, you need to have gotten like a 1 or 2 on the FCAT in order to take the course. Then there's an advanced reading course. For some of y'all, you'll see it. I think it's only 9th graders. Sorry. 9th graders have that advanced reading. That's if you did well on FCAT and so on and so forth, and you really enjoy reading. Like, let's say a score of 4 or 5 on FCAT. The next thing is speech. We all have speech on our sheets. So remember, you need a credit of a performing art, fine art, or speech and debate. So speech and debate could count as that credit. Speech, you'll learn about different techniques for giving a speech, learn about how to outline speeches, and you'll also have to give them. So for those of us who struggle with giving speeches, it's a great reason to take this course because it would help you out, and you're definitely going to have to do speeches in college and in your career. So it's definitely best to get that practice now. And then some of you have on there 11th and 12th grade, you have applied communications, 1 and 2. You can't do 2 before 1. You need to do 1 and then 2. So applied communications is like a tech writing course, or a technical communication course. So you might go over instructional manuals. You might go over resume writing, college applications, interviewing, so on and so forth. So it's a great option for students. And that rounds out the language arts options. The next section is PE options. So we talked about HOPE already. If you haven't done it yet, mark it. Then we have weight training. We have team sports. That just involves sports that involve teams. So basketball, volleyball, things like that. That's what you're going to be doing in that class. There's aerobics. So weight training, is kind of like the stationary, you lift, things like that, muscle building. Aerobics kind of builds lung and kind of like heart capacity, so that endurance. So you're going to be working a lot. It's more oxygen based, right? So it's a lot of movement, moving around. And then there's basketball. I think that covers everything in that section for everybody. I think it does. So we're good. The next option is technology and leadership education. So the first one is leadership skills development. It's a cool course. It looks at the different theories of leadership. It looks at what skills and qualities leaders typically have, and it involves some group projects. So it's pretty awesome. And then there's principles of technology on everyone's sheet. Once again, you have to do principles of Tech 1 before you can do principles of Tech 2. So it's a prereq. So principles of technology, you're going to be using different technological devices to research problems and to solve those problems. So it's pretty cool. So you're going to be utilizing a lot of like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, the internet, things like that to pull things together. Alright. I want to make one other mention that I breezed over. I didn't mean to. So if you go back to the social sciences section, which is the first column, the left-hand column, way at the bottom, there is also psychology. And I don't know why I breeze over it every time because I'm a psych major. So students can take Psych 1 and 2, and some of these don't have it, like 9th grade, you don't have it, 10th grade, you don't have it, because you mainly are working on those other things. Or wait, you do. Social science is up. I'm looking at the wrong area. Alright, so 9th grade is the only grade that doesn't have these psych options. So Psychology 1 and 2 is encouraged to take before you take AP Psychology, because it'll help develop a foundation, so that when you eventually do the AP course, if you want to, you can then do better on the class, and then hopefully do better on the exam. So that's definitely an option. Psychology, think about it like this. It studies the person. So to look at why they think the way they think, why they behave the way they behave, how they interact with other people. So it's a pretty neat course, and also gets some scientific components. Like it looks into like drugs used with different disorders, and it also looks at how all the chemicals in your brain interact to create sensation and things like that. So, all neat options. I believe I covered everything. So just make sure, first, look at the graduation requirements. Second, figure out what you still have left to do, or anything you've missed. Next, make sure you request or check those courses that you're missing for graduation, or that are next in line that you need to get to graduation, like progression-wise, and select those first, like the English, math, science, social sciences. Remember, you also need the HOPE, 2 years of a world language, and you also need the 1 credit performing fine arts or speech and debate. Okay. After that, you need 8 things checked on your sheet of paper. So make sure you have 8 total check marks, excluding dual enrollment, for those of you who have that option, excluding that. Remember, if you have any interesting circumstances or weird progression that you followed with your previous school, just make sure to write that in the notes section. So what to do here, you'd want to send all these forms to me, okay? And because my name is spelled so weirdly, I thank my family for that. So here's my name, Eric Gommerman, Gommermann, so the double M, double N. I'm the school counselor, and that's my email way at the bottom. Please note that if you only put 1 N, it's not going to get to me. So put 2 M's and 2 N's, and it's at BDCHS.org, so our school acronym. Okay, and I'm also going to include it below so you have it. So you want to send these forms to me. So you can print them, you can fax them over to Brooks, and they'll come to me, or you can just email them to me. Like take a picture of it and just email it to me, and we'll make sure we get it. Alright, so what happens from here? So we get all these course sheets, and then we put them in a software program, and it basically spits out all the schedules. Okay, so we're planning to do this in the summer, so plan right now, it may change, to get schedules in the latter half of the summer. Be on the lookout for course assignments, summer assignments that you have to do, mainly for AP classes, if you're taking them, and for English. And some social sciences have them as well. And also some other classes have them. So be on the lookout for communication about summer assignments. The due date for these things is going to be as soon as you can. Definitely at least by May 30th. Because May 30th, after that, we have exam week, and then I'm pretty much not going to be here much over the summer. I will be in infrequently. So I will be here, but not too often. So at least get these to me as soon as possible. If you're accepted over the summer and you're just now viewing these things, get them into me ASAP so we can put you in the system. Yeah, and if you have questions, just please let me know. So once again, my name was Eric Gommerman, and I'm the school counselor here at Brooks. And I try to answer all your questions throughout this whole thing, but if there's any questions you do have, please email me. Phones don't work too well because the nature of my job, I'm counseling students a lot, or I'm running around, or so on and so forth. I can't do that. And also in the summer, I'm not going to be here much. So email is definitely the primary form of communication for reaching me at this point. So there we go. Well, thank you for viewing all these videos, and happy course selecting time to you. All right, take care.